Okay, thank you and welcome to the first ever episode of It's Not That Hard with Aidan McKee. Unless, of course, Sydney Sweeney walked in, totally different story. I'm kidding, liberals, don't shoot, don't shoot. I burnt off my American Eagle jeans to the stake already. Take that, MAGA. Speaking of MAGA, they really ought to change the slogan to Make America Glaze Again. I mean, the amount of glazing I've seen in this week alone, it has to be at an all-time high. And that is saying something, because they've been glazing that guy for years. I don't know if you noticed, but the National Park Society, they issue those annual passes that let you go to the national parks all over America. But this year, they changed the image. Which you might be wondering, don't they usually change the image? And you'd be correct. It's gone from a mighty mountain to a whimsical bird flapping its wings to a majestic lake to now a beautiful picture of Donald J. Trump. I kid you not. So a lot of people, as you can guess, were not too happy to have to look at the face of Donald J. Trump every time they go to a national park, as a lot of national park goers don't like that guy too much, as he's done not a damn good thing for them. But the National Park Society is clapping back. So what a lot of people have been doing, they've been putting stickers over top of Donald Trump's face because they don't want to look at the guy. And the National Park Society now changed their rules that if you have a sticker in your pass, it doesn't count. I mean, it would have been one thing to draw a penis on the guy's face. I mean, would have done a lot for me, but that's not even what they're doing. They're just putting pictures of animals and nature, the things that they love, over top of him. And that was too much for Donald's feelings, apparently. But speaking of other news, I know we probably don't want to focus on that too long. It doesn't seem that important in the scheme of things compared to everything else going on. I mean, we got a genocide happening in Gaza. We got Christians being killed every day in Africa. And what the hell is going on in Greenland? I mean, I was excited when they announced the second one. I was like, Gerard Butler, yes, love that guy. But I don't know what's going on now. Every day there's a new news article about it. I'm like, just send Gerard over there. He'll fix everything right on up. Sometimes I wonder, just looking at how we've started this year, as, I mean, again, we're still in January. First episode of the year. We're all thinking about these resolutions. And I wonder if Barron Trump went up to his dad and was like, hey Daddy, do you have any resolutions this year? And Donald heard revolutions. With a V. Revolutions instead of resolutions. Sometimes I wonder if that's what happened, because he's not doing a damn good thing for this country right now. But who cares about my opinion? We got a couple guests here today, and hopefully we'll come up with something new and enlightening for everybody. But without further ado, let's get started with the show. We'll be right back after this quick break. But huzzah! Welcome back to the show. This is It's Not Hard with Aidan McKee. And I have the pleasure of introducing not one, not three, but two guests today for the show. First off, I got Ethan Goonewardene. Who is a well-known actor, musician, philanthropist.
A philanthropist for sure.
I've heard that. And secondly, we have a good friend of mine, Dr. Diem. Okay, pull up a seat. First off, I gotta say thank you two for coming out here and giving your time to the show. I know both of these lads growing up, but like we seem to have parted ways recently. So I'm introducing the new version of me to you guys today. So in a way, there's a lot of pressure on me, more so than the guys being asked the questions. So first off, Jake Diem. So what kind of doctor are you?
So I'm a doctor of physical therapy.
Okay.
Yes. It is a doctorate now. I am a doctor, yes, officially.
Okay. You are officially a doctor.
Officially a doctor. I graduated. Okay. I still, in a couple weeks, I'll take my licensure exam, but I am a doctor.
And you're the kind that Justin Tucker went to, or
okay.
I'm just
No.
That's too funny.
Yeah, those people are considered professionals now, actually, according to the Department of Education. But
oh boy, that's too funny. That is too
always
funny.
heard they did a good job.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But I do want to get back to what you said. Wait, so you said you have your test in a couple weeks from now, but you're already identifying as doctor.
Well, okay, so I graduated, right?
Okay.
So I got my doctorate in physical
therapy.
therapy.
I did too, yeah. I graduated,
Yeah. But then you have to take a licensure exam to become a licensed physical therapist.
Okay, so you're a doctor, but you're not.
No, I'm a doctor, but I'm not licensed.
So you're a doctor who can't work.
Well,
it's like when they give you the permit when you pass the permit test, but you can't really drive without mom.
Well,
like that?
To a degree. In Pennsylvania, I can practice because there are temporary licenses. But
so you have a temporary license?
Not currently.
Okay.
I opted to just stick with the doctorate and get the full license.
I don't want to grill you too hard, but Mr. Jake Dean, could you switch with Ethan real quick?
I understand.
No, like actually.
Wait, really?
Like, could you two switch real quick?
No.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But because I'm asking Ethan.
We're rotating
exactly.
I see. Musical chairs. They say. Where's the music? So I've been asking Aidan about his rap career for the past 5 years.
Okay. Well, now that we have that out of the way, Ethan Goonewardene, my really good friend Ethan Goonewardene. But I didn't mean to ask you. I know you've been doing a lot right now. He's a very artsy guy. You've been doing a lot of plays, movies, music. We'll wait for him to get situated.
Just take your time.
Yeah.
No, I'm perched.
Oh, okay.
Like a gargoyle.
Like a gargoyle.
I'm protecting us. Yeah.
Actually, I'm not gonna go there. I was about to say something crazy, but.
Like ice is protecting us.
That is a good one. You don't actually think that, do you?
No. Does it look like I'm actually protecting you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. But now back to my very good friend Ethan here. Do you have any upcoming productions? Any theater plays?
Absolutely. Happy to announce if you're in the Lehigh Valley area, I'm stage managing Little Women at Players of the Stage. If you're an actor, whether you're starting out, if you're a student, great opportunity to get involved. Come on down, auditions this Thursday. And if you're not into that, come see the show. It'll be in March or April into May. So keep an eye out for that.
And where should they look up if they are interested?
Definitely go to playersofthestage.com.org. Players of the Stage, look up Little Women for the show details.
A question for both of you, and we can answer. Let's work our way right to left. Or my left to right. Stage right. Oh, yeah, you would know a thing or two about stage right.
There you go. Yep.
That's where you make it. Okay. Question for you first. So, what is your presidential voting record? Not in terms. Don't tell me who you voted for. But I am 1-1. I got a win. I got a loss under my belt right now. So my record is 1-1.
Okay, well, you'll be able to imply mine. I've only been legal for one. I'm currently 0-1.
Okay.
But that could mean a lot of things. A lot of people didn't win the last election.
Yeah. More than half of them, apparently.
It's true.
How about this guy over here? I know you've had 2 under your belt.
I've had 2 under my belt, and this one's actually a little spicier. It becomes a guessing game. I'm 1-0.
1-0. Interesting.
I like it. I think I know what happened there. I would not elaborate. Next question for everybody. How actually politically aware are you? On a scale like 1 to 10, like just before we get into like the nitty gritty and we put the jokes aside, like how much should we even care about your opinion?
You should care deeply about my opinion. I'm very in the know. I'm extremely, theater people, we like to say we know a little bit about everything. We're very realistic people, very practical people. We're hardworking. We're blue collar in a sense, really.
Well, I'm not, but...
Well, you're not, of course, no way.
But
being a doctor, yeah.
But we always got to listen to the artists' opinions because we really know what's going on out there. One thing they say about theater people, they're in touch with how people feel, how the common man thinks, and I think our opinion is incredibly, important, especially now.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm also, being a doctor, a medical professional, I'm very in touch with people. I'm in... It's
literally in touch.
Literally
You'd be
in
touching
touch.
them.
I'd be touching them. And it's kind of a service industry, so you kind of come across, the everyman pretty much 8 hours straight, so...
Not for you, my friend.
But I'm not particularly politically aware, but I hear a lot of input coming from, different perspectives all the time, so... I try to be, but not especially.
Then we should have a very good episode ahead. Some very good discussion. So now let's get into the nitty gritty. But how I kind of see the show going. I know this is the first episode for everyone. I'll give a little brief talk of what happened this week or maybe last week. It'll probably be bi-weekly. Sorry, conservative. It'll be bi-weekly. You heard me right. But before we get into like the nitty gritty, after we get to know you guys a little bit better, I think we play a game. A little game, Who doesn't love a game show?
The games are quite fun.
Just like Jimmy Fallon.
Just like Jimmy Fallon.
Indeed.
Look that up.
Now, the game for this episode, we're gonna play a little round of truth or lie. I'm gonna ask you a little question, and you're gonna have to guess: is that true or is it a lie?
Ooh.
Okay, this is 2025 edition.
Okay.
Question 1. We gave $5 billion to Israel last year in the calendar year of 2025.
Wow.
Truth or lie?
I'm gonna say lie. I feel like it's higher.
Is this counting hummus sales?
Oh.
Or just,
Okay. I don't know why Israel would make sales off of Hamas, but a good way of trying to work your party in there. I don't know why he's laughing. He made a very dark comment.
That surprises me, though. I mean, that would shock me. I would be in horror if we gave that much.
I think it's higher, so I do think it is.
So you're both saying it's a lie. We got an over and we got an under.
Well, I guess, are we counting the military that we give them in terms of like machinery, weapons? Does that count?
I don't believe so. I believe it's the money. Like some of it is like for them to spend because they spend a lot of money on military over there.
They do.
Almost all of it actually.
And you wonder where they're getting it from if they're not buying it from us.
Yeah. So we got 2 lies.
I'm thinking this is a lie. $5 billion seems high. But I know old Netanyahu's got a bit of a spending
Got a little bit of that chokehold on old Don.
Don't loan him the Amex. He will get into trouble. So I'll go true. I'll go true. I'll go truth.
The correct answer is lie.
Oh.
We gave 7.8 billion.
Oh dear.
A little bit of a shopping spree. I've been
dear.
having some fun, you could say, looking at what we could have done with that 7-8 billion. A lot of these articles are being posted. We could have housed every veteran who's currently unhoused with that money.
Wow.
Or we could have, I don't know how they come up with this, again, I'm just going off what I've seen, but supposedly we could have ended hunger in the United States with 7.8 billion. Everybody could have had food last year with that amount of money. And you think about like just all the other things, like these socialist things, like getting rid of like college debt, all these things, and it's like, oh no, that's way too much money. Like where would we get that? We could. We could. We gave 7.8 billion last year, and since 2023, which was the start of the genocide, 21.7 billion. So that's not even that much higher than what Biden was doing. Like if anything, because it was partway through I think October 23 was when the genocide started.
One thing Biden loved was giving to Israel.
He loved
I'm
giving
glad
money.
Donald, we had some unity there. We can agree on
Both of them.
on giving to Israel.
Oh.
What I wonder though is with Doge, right? The whole idea was we tighten the belt as much as we can. Every government thing that's spending way too much, we reel it in, and then we get our money up. Feels like maybe we could have tightened up a little bit on the Israel thing. Where did that money go? Where did that money go?
It sounds like that money went to Israel.
Because I'll tell you what, I live near Valley Forge, and Valley Forge has had to lay off like 80% of their workforce, and those are people that are tour guides, those are people that are like maintenance crew, cleaning like all of the like beautiful historic statues and like preserving that area. A lot of people lost their jobs, and I feel like that money is just getting funneled out. What happened to it? What happened to it?
It actually brings me to, I'm going to skip the next question for now, but is Doge still a thing? Truth or lie?
Is it?
I don't think it is. So is Doge still a thing? Truth
Yeah,
or
truth
lie?
is that a lie or is it
I guess lie. I would say it's a lie if you said Doge is still a thing. I don't think it is.
I guess it's like asking if when your parents get divorced, do you still exist? The answer being technically yes, you do still exist. But since neither of them really care about you anymore, you maybe just don't do anything. So maybe now that Trump and Elon have broken up, it still exists. They still have those team of America's dweebs and nerds.
So I guess I would put it this way. So again, speaking as a medical professional, you are two 50% portions of your parents, and so when those two portions split up, you actually become two people.
Oh,
a little clinical pearl for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never thought about that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it still exists, but they are being terminated this year. Apparently their contract is up July 4th. That seems to be.
They signed a contract.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like they're the contract for them to disband in July 4th. But I had to do some digging even just to find that. So like who even knows? Because my favorite thing was again they were cutting all these workers' pays, tour guides. They cut a lot of stuff. And then they got to the military and they cut 1% of spending. They cut they took quite. If you look at the numbers, it was a large number, but compared to what they get each year, I know a lot of people like Bill Maher was repping them for that.
Interesting.
And he's pretty conservative.
He's pretty conservative. Yeah, good money being spent there.
It's a good principle too, not to ever trust. Because Doge, we should have known from the outset. You hate to judge people on their looks, obviously, but when the plan is we're gonna get together a bunch of Best Buy Geek Squad employees and we're gonna put them in the think tank and they're really gonna solve it. I don't know if you've been to a computer store lately. I barely trust these people with my computer. I mean, these people, I certainly would not want them in any position to make any decisions on anything. And yes, because of how they look.
Yes.
Yeah, because of how they look.
Kind of speaking of them having a contract, I'd be curious, do you happen to know how much money is being allocated to Doge in that contract?
I do not. I would have to look
Okay.
that up.
Okay.
But I feel like it can't be much anymore because again, I feel like I was looking what have they done this year? Because again, this episode is focused on 2026. Couldn't find a single article about them doing anything.
Okay.
So I wonder.
So I mean,
that's the tech dream. Get paid a bunch of money to do something and then completely fail and rug pull and just disappear.
Some could say they're kind of like government waste right now.
Almost.
You could say.
Almost. Yeah.
Ironically, though, not getting paid much more than the actual people that are in charge of waste, who have to go on strike to get living wage.
At this point, I feel like the people that should be in charge of government efficiency with our money should be the LA Dodgers, actually. Because they seem to have a lot of money and know what to do with it.
That is true.
It's a little baseball reference for you baseball fans out there.
The city of Philadelphia could have used them to pay the trash.
Well.
Okay, moving on. Not to cut that short, but we got a lot of questions today. Speaking of Donald J. Trump, last year, his disapproval rose by 13%.
His disapproval rose by 13%.
So 13 or more percent people disapprove of him now than the start of
Yeah,
2025.
okay.
Yeah, and so over the course of the year, true, lie or true?
I want to say lie because I try to close your eyes and imagine who these people are. Like prior to this year or last year, they're like, okay, first term did well, took over, 2024. That was a good year. And then 2025, wait a minute. This doesn't seem like the guy I voted for twice. Who are those people? Because I would love to chat with them and see what.
I've tried, brother.
What did it for
ain't
ya?
easy. It ain't easy. But the correct answer is that it is true.
It is
It's
true.
true.
I mean, when I read that, I was like hoping. I'm like, it seems like over the last couple of weeks alone, like personally in my life, I feel like more than 13% of like the MAGA heads who I knew are now like, maybe we messed up. Maybe this guy, he isn't doing what we voted for. And whether they'll publicly say that, but like in private conversations, more than 13%, in my opinion, have. But again, you are correct, because usually, actually it's funny, to get deeper into the numbers, his approval rating didn't drop that drastically. It was a lot of the people who were in the middle. So it kind of looks like most of the MAGA crowd, not many of them changed. Like it dropped like a couple percent, like 2 or 3, but like the no opinion group is disapproving now, which makes sense if you think about it. A lot of like the centrists going into the election 24, where they're like, oh, I don't really know, I don't like how they got Kamala in there, they feel like they cheated, but I also not a fan of Donald Trump, and they were kind of in the middle, they didn't approve or disapprove. Most of that crowd now has like come to their senses that like this guy is no good.
Yeah. And it's the comedian's fault, if I could be honest.
Dude, Shane Gillis.
I don't know about Shane Gillis, but Theo Von, Tony Hinchcliffe, some of the most spineless humans, because I feel like the number that 13% is the people that voted based on their comedians. I love my comedians. What are they saying about it? Oh, Theo Von's having Trump on and saying, well, it's so fun, to own the libs a little bit. This guy seems normal. Like, well, we'll have Benjamin Netanyahu on the podcast. He seems like a rational guy. It's fun to own the libs. We all love owning the libs, but then you vote for that, and I feel like they especially got a lot of young people to vote for something, and then immediately everything that was always going to happen happened, and then they were like, well, who could have seen this coming?
Yeah, not to be like the I told you so group, but we literally told you.
I voted for him because he's funny. What do you mean he's doing that?
He did the funny dance where he went like that. Yeah, I think to that point too, if you want to call him a comedian, Joe Rogan, having
Certainly
Trump
funny
and oh my goodness,
Short
listen, having
he's bald as fuck. Have you seen that shiny head of his?
Can we stop trusting bald people this year? Can that be our resolution?
yeah, balding people and short people. Let me tell you.
Well, I'm sure you're gonna find a cure for your disease.
I probably will,
Yeah.
being a medical professional and a doctor and a scholar. But no, having Joe Rogan having both Trump and JD Vance, and the story that was being pushed out. I don't know how true it was. This is all just hearsay. But saying that we pitched to have like Kamala and Tim Walz on the show too, kind of to get a balanced perspective, get to know these people, and their representation said no. I think that was advantageous to Trump to, because just watching the episode and watching clips of it, you watch J.D. Vance and you're like, I mean, this guy seems like he seems like the everyman. He curses every once in a while, ooh, clutching my pearls. But I do that too, and it's
So he's like me.
It makes he's like me, except he loves Israel and he hates he hates trans.
Strike that from the record.
Yeah.
Oh man, we'll move on from that game right now, as we only have the space for so long today. Okay, so this is a light question. So from here on out, these questions, a couple of them are written by me. I try to get very drunk when I wrote them so that I could also catch a curveball here.
There you go.
It's kind of like trying to cause some multi-personality disorder. But some of these are from other individuals who care about politics and have some questions for the panel here to decide and see if I can really, or if we can really prove it's not that hard to come up with the correct answer.
Right.
Because if you know me, what I hate more than anything is when people are like, both sides do this. It's a gray area. I just don't know. Bitch, just learn it then. You can know. Just look it up. So that's what triggers me the most, which is why I don't think it's that hard to stay informed or come up with an opinion. And the correct opinion. Which there's only one of, and I always know it. Okay, first, this is a light question. Here. This isn't even political. I thought this is more of a Jake Diem question.
Oh, okay.
Or well, I guess now it's for anyone. Anybody who's almost a doctor. So I guess that's all three of us.
Right, that's would be
now,
then.
Yeah. Are energy drinks actually that bad for you? And if so, sugar-free or sugar? Because you look on Instagram. I'm on the algorithm that's energy drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking love energy drinks, but there's always those people who are like, that's gonna kill you, and it's scary to think about. So I figured you might know. Is that true?
Well, I will say I'm not that kind of doctor. However, I am informed in some nutrition.
Oh, you're a mean doctor.
Okay. I understand. It does depend because the energy drinks are very different. I would say the lower sugar ones are definitely better than the very high sugar ones. As much as I enjoy a blue full throttle when I see it in the gas station. Because just like you, I shop in the gas station. I may
Regular Joe.
I may be a doctor, but I am still, put my pants one leg on at a time. But yes,
3 legs later.
3 legs later. Some of the fake sugars, some people are a little bit more sensitive stomach-wise, and erythritol is a sugar substitute that can. Some people have difficulty digesting. So it depends on who you are. If you're sensitive to that, you might not tolerate that as well. The ones that are 300 milligrams of caffeine, people won't tolerate that quite as well as the ones that are say 100, 140, something like that, like a Red Bull or a Monster.
Your Red Bull's 118, which isn't that
118,
bad.
which is not, I believe a regular cup of coffee, your standard cup is about 90 milligrams of caffeine, so you're not too far off.
But it's the chemicals that are supposedly really bad for you, like the taurine and stuff, I hear. It can cause like blood cancer, blood cell cancer.
Well, that's the thing about, when you look at scientific research, it is very easy. As somebody, again, through my doctoral program, I've had to do a lot of medical research, being a professional in that area, of course. It's very easy to skew the results of a study, and you can say, oh, this thing is correlated with that, meaning like, as you age, you're more likely to get cancer or something like that. Yeah, if you've lived longer, you have more, opportunity to get cancer. So there are certain things like that where, if you talk about correlation, these things, as one goes up, the other goes up. That doesn't mean that you drink an energy drink, it'll give you blood cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
So I say
ought to do?
green light. Green light. Go for it.
And thank goodness.
Yeah. But you know what they ought to do? They ought to make a mandatory vaccine for it, and then
for energy
drinks. You take it, and then you can't get the blood cancer.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they haven't come up with that
yet.
yet. Someone ought to give Fauci money.
Yeah, they would probably do that if they made the energy drinks in a lab in China. Probably. If
what a weird world.
This guy gets it.
He gets Yeah, we'll talk later.
Speaking of China. Greenland, I meant. If we acquire Greenland, do we change our flag?
Do we change our flag?
Because we have 50 stars. I imagine if we acquire Greenland, it will become a state.
Right.
I know the Puerto Rico situation, it's like it's not a state, even though it probably should be. But I imagine Greenland, that's huge over there. They make that the 51st state. We've had this flag for years now. Perfectly 50 stars. So do we update it with the 51st star? And follow up on that, do you think we would then take the opportunity to also add Puerto Rico as an official state, like 2 new states at the same time, take it up to 52?
52. I mean, what the hell is in Greenland? Can anybody explain?
I'd like to pose another question. How about this? How about if we were to get Greenland, which we shouldn't because that's a dumbass idea. But if we're just playing hypothetical, we're playing Risk over here. Pick up Greenland. Why not pick up Iceland too? Flip flop the names. Greenland, that shit ain't green. It's snow and ice.
That's what I thought the whole bit with Greenland was. Somebody tricked somebody into buying it because they thought it was green. Oh, buy this, it's green, and they went on saying it's green at all. Why do we want that? Why do we want to get catfish?
I say righting a wrong.
Yeah.
We make it. We say, hey, you know what? Hey, that guy, he's a trickster. He's trying to lead you on. This is Iceland because it's mostly ice. And then we go pick up Iceland. I don't know what affiliation Iceland has, but make that Greenland because I think it's more green.
Well, they're both EU, so this is where the problem comes up. And if you had to ask me, my prediction is we do not acquire Greenland. I think it's all just like Trump's trying to bully Europe, but I think even that guy has brains enough to know that that is such a bad idea. Maybe we'll keep pretending. We might keep pretending during his entire presidency that this is now the time we're going to take it. But Europe said they would take every U.S. base that's in Europe. And we have a lot of bases throughout Europe, and they would take all of our stuff if we did that. And it's just something that every single American should be rooting against. Like, that should be a 100% in agreement that we should not take Greenland and upset our most valuable allies, which is the entirety of Europe. So, it's not that hard, in my opinion, to know that. That is just such a bad idea. Like, you'd be a freaking idiot to have a different opinion on that.
I did hear, and I'm not saying I agree with it, I did hear somebody say, well, we did the Louisiana Purchase, and then it's like, guys, that's not what they're posing.
That ain't what we're
saying that I think it's NATO sent like 3 soldiers or something like that to Greenland to protect it or whatever. It's like, that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to be like, hey, this land that's in the same, I guess geographical mass that we're on, we'll buy that too. No, we're just like, we're gonna march in and take Greenland for. Is there oil there? I don't even know.
I think there is some oil, but I believe the main reason we want it is just because of the advantage point being that much closer to like Europe, and then as such like Russia and everything. I think that would become like a big military place for us. Like I think that would be like missiles could obviously reach a lot more things from Greenland than the United States. So I believe at least I forget if it was J.D. Vance or somebody else in Trump's cabinet was saying it's more of like the strategic positioning of Greenland being right, like it's kind of like halfway. Actually, it's even like closer to Europe. I feel. Well, it's like between us and Europe, and it's just that much closer we have. But we don't have to focus on it too long.
Well,
it's kind of like when you break up with somebody. And then, you go your separate ways, but then you decide, well, I'm going to buy the house next door to her. And I just want to be closer. I just want to be there. Maybe we'll see what happens. It's bitter. We should leave Britain to their own devices. Listen, what we had with them was real. It's over. Can we let them go? We'll let them be them. We don't have to move back in. We don't want to confuse anybody. Let's just leave them alone. Let's let them.
No 2 a.m. booty calls.
None of that. None of that.
Get out
you just want to get out of range. Don't let yourself get tempted.
Yeah, I will say though, it is interesting and maybe a nice sentiment to some that just us. As soon as Dick Cheney died, we're gonna carry on his sentiment. We're gonna go invade a land, get some oil, set up military bases. You know what? Hey. It's a nice little tribute.
I never thought about it that way.
Nice little tribute.
But Donald and
Donald
Dick
Trump
have
said,
a lot
we're
in
going to pour
common.
one out on Greenland for Dick Cheney. Good up.
Oh, brother. Oh, brother. Okay, so this is actually, I'm only going to ask one of these questions. This is a medical question. So for anybody who's almost a doctor here.
I almost licensed.
The way the question is worded, we might have to dive a little deeper in. But the question is, what do you think about anti-vaxxers? I think what would be probably a better question than targeting a specific group is, how do you feel about vaccines?
I mean, I think vaccines are very important. I mean, we've seen with things like polio, that was, that specifically.
Like it really itches your neck sometimes.
Yeah, the collar sometimes gets.
Yeah, so I can't stand it.
It sucks that they still make us wear it after the vaccines. But okay, God. But I do think, I think they do take time. So I understand to some degree people's qualms with the COVID vaccine being a little bit rushed out. You didn't get to do the full scope of medical testing necessarily. So in that regard, I understand why people were a little bit hesitant about it. That being said, I think vaccines on the whole, this kind of goes back to what I was talking about with the correlation, not causation. Same thing with what Trump and RFK said about Tylenol causing autism. There's absolutely no evidence to suggest that a vaccine will cause autism or any other adverse effects that they haven't already, openly admitted or something like that. So I think the anti-vaxxing, I think it's mostly stems from people saying, I don't want people to tell me what to do because it's a free country and whatnot, which it is. You don't, have to, but to be able to, benefit from certain, wonderful things that come from our freedoms, you may have to get vaccinated.
And I will say, I do feel like, again, using anti-vax as a group, I think most of them it's not like they just don't think that they should have to get the vaccine.
Yes.
Again, it's the very libertarian, I just shouldn't have to do this, my body, my choice type thing.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just, for me, it's just, so every time I look at a specific vaccine, it's I'm like, oh, this just makes sense. It's good to get, as a baby, you get 23 vaccines or something crazy. But then you do compare it to other countries, and in Europe, it's 7. It's less than half in any other country amount of vaccines you get when you're a kid. And I don't hear about that being a problem over there. So I don't know if that's necessarily an issue, because again, if we don't know if they're actually causing anything bad, I don't feel like the life cycle in America is that much worse than it is in France or Italy, where you get less. I don't know the numbers on that, but it is alarming sometimes when you see the 23 vaccines by the time you're 1 in the United States, or in China it's 11, and in Europe it's 7, and it is kind of why are we so unhealthy that we need all those vaccines?
Yes. And I think there are certain things. I mean, America on the whole, in terms of reporting medical statistics, they're a little bit more on it and honest for the most part than some other countries. So I think that also kind of skews a little bit of the statistics. But I do agree. I think we do need to be cognizant of potentially overloading our babies a little bit. That being said, I do think they're polio. The shirts are uncomfortable, so we need the vaccines. It's a good bit.
She already heard it once.
She is cracking up again. I love you. So I think just being cognizant of we shouldn't overload, but also we can't completely fully restrict necessarily.
And I think too, from a layperson's perspective, something that's important is there's a historian that talks about this a lot, where in his field it's obviously different, but there's a big need, I think, now for people that are professionals in a field, that are intellectuals, that are highly studied, to make information that they have readily available for people in a way that makes sense. I think the problem why, in a field like archaeology, you have people like Graham Hancock, who's just come out with wild claims about history that are not right, but they're so easily available, and he speaks well, and it's intriguing to believe something like that. Same way with medicine often, the average man doesn't want to read a study. We don't want to look into things like this for ourselves. And so when you have the internet where you can look at anything, it's so much easier to publish things that are hastily made and draw wide conclusions than it is to look into actual research. So I think a big thing is more doctors should be making YouTube channels, making TikTok pages, make it the information you have, make it available in a way, because I feel like sometimes people will see the anti-vax people and say, well, you're just stupid, you want to believe this. A lot of them, I think, are well-intentioned, well-meaning people, But you can just find yourself in a place where you're echo chambered and you're only hearing things that aren't true. But then you go to the doctor, and sometimes the doctor's not good at explaining things. Sometimes the doctor talks in jargon you don't understand. Sometimes they don't even tell you all the results. They don't break it down for you. Sometimes the nurses don't. So making that process more accessible to people would also, I think, help make it so that people can still freely make a decision. But like you said, my body, my choice. When it's your kid, that's not your body. You're responsible for it. And then, the reason overseas is like in America, we don't have the sense of my community is my problem. So it's like, yeah, it's your kid, but if you're going to send him to school with like minimum 20 other kids that he's going to be in a room with every day, like, I don't know if that's your right anymore to decide like, oh, we could all get sick because my kid, I decided not to vaccinate. I will say anecdotally, I got my flu shot this year for work for the first time in like 5 years, and I did get sick. I got the flu, but all of my roommates got it, and I definitely had it less worse. Doesn't mean anything, but I was surprised because usually I just do.
Okay, welcome back to It's Not That Hard with Aidan McKee. Once again, I'm joined by guests Jacob Diem and Ethan Goonewardene.
Dr. Jacob Diem.
Oh, you hush up. Okay. First question. Since we're back from the break, Ethan, this one is specifically for you. Jake and I might get involved in a little bit because it's probably not that hard. But you were recently on a murder trial, I believe.
Yes,
or
it
turned out to be a manslaughter trial.
Turned out to be a manslaughter trial, yep.
And then maybe we'll have a little storytelling time. You can talk about it a little bit if you want. But ultimately, you do have more experience in what is a manslaughter and what is a murder in a way that I wouldn't have thought about it. So my question for you would be, would you call the tragedy that happened to Renee Good a murder or a manslaughter? Because I'm sure you've seen it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's seen it. All the different angles, slowed down, sped up, trying to force whatever narrative they're trying to show. And I think it's objective. It's not that hard, in my opinion, that it is 100% one or the other, right? It wasn't self-defense. He sidesteps the car. He shoots in, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I saw a video where he's literally like moving with the car. His feet are on the side as he gets the second and third shot off. So it's definitely not self-defense. For anybody who isn't ICE, it would have always been an issue, right? If a cop does it, right away he's suspended and they're looking into it. A citizen does it. A legal citizen does it, and they're locked up and under watch of the police, even if they let them go home because they're not sure what it is yet. But it's one or the other. It's objectively not self-defense. I mean, you can disagree with me. I'm just trying to lay the setting a little bit. But would you call it a murder or a manslaughter? And maybe you can actually explain the difference because you were just in the court system.
Absolutely. Again, I have no law expertise, but I was on this trial and we were very much hammered on the distinctions here. So the terms that you want to look out for is between self-defense and third-degree murder are malice is a term that's very important, and premeditation. Now, what you see in the video when you want to look for premeditation, a lot of people hear premeditation in the context of murder and think of like, oh, well, you had a plan to do it. You schemed and you decided that day, I'm going out, I'm killing this person. When in the law definition, premeditation can happen in seconds. It can be as little, it can be as much as planning it the night before. It can be as little as thinking, having the time to say, could I, should I, yes, I'm going to. That can be absolutely premeditation. So when you're looking at something like this, what rules it out from self-defense right away is the fact that anyone using deadly force, which is a gun is the clear example of deadly force, anyone using deadly force has the responsibility to retreat if at all possible. So this is, again, and this is an extreme example too, because usually when it's tricky, it's like 2 people have a gun, maybe one person does and the other's charging them, or something is happening where they're in immediate threat for their life. You would have to make that decision. Here, it seems very easy to say that that's not, the officer was not in risk of his life from all angles, you can see the wheel is clearly turning away. Not only that, but the fact that the car is going from not moving to starting. The idea that President Trump tweeted out immediately of like, he just said she ran him over, which obviously wasn't true.
Didn't even happen.
And then J.D. Vance walked it back a little bit and said, well, she was trying to run him over. That clearly was not the case. She's going from stopping to starting. Clearly the wheel is turned all the way around. She's trying to get away, which is very clearly giving him opportunity to retreat, which he has the responsibility to do as the person using deadly force. So definitely not self-defense and under any legal definition. For it to be murder, again, the premeditation is what you would be looking for there. And I think you have a really good case in the fact that he was filming with his right hand when he comes around with the footage that he took on his phone. He's filming with his right hand, and then he takes the phone out of his right hand, puts it in his left hand to reach for his gun as he's going with it. Clearly implies that he's premeditating this. His intention is to shoot, and you don't get the like, if he had shot her in the leg or somewhere, you would have to take a stretch to say, oh, he wasn't trying to kill her. You fire twice into somebody's car, you're trying to kill them.
Yeah,
So,
it was 3 times. It was 3 shots.
three times, yeah. If you fire at close range like that, there's no argument that you're not trying to kill him. So to me, that's clear premeditation. Any hearsay about him having PTSD of getting ran over or he was fearing for his life, it doesn't matter. If he had the chance to get away, it's not self-defense, and if he has the time to premeditate the shots, then it's clearly murder. The tricky thing, though, is legally, the way it usually works is that the Department of Justice will prosecute crimes like this. This is what happens when it's a police officer like this. The big trouble with ICE is no one really knows what they are and what legal status they have. So it's possible that they have qualified immunity, which
That's
a lot
what
of
JD
people
said. JD
wanna-
was like referring to them, but again, it was never established ahead of time. Very much as the problem with ICE has always been is they don't even know what they're doing. They're not sure. They're playing. They have no game plan. They're just playing it by ear as it's happening and changing the rules whenever it's convenient.
Yeah, and it's a confusion that's important, especially when you're dealing with law enforcement, because if you're the police, everyone knows what they're supposed to do, everybody knows what they're not supposed to do, and so when you're dealing with police, there's clear things like that. When you're dealing with ICE, I don't think anybody watches the videos, any videos, even things that didn't go this extreme. No one watches ICE videos and says, oh yeah, they're doing things by the book, they're doing things like this. It often looks like they're just completely acting in very similar ways than a gang would. Even in this video, the one officer's just trying to rip her car door open and pull her out of it. They're trying to grab the wheel. Like, they're trying to detain people in ways that are completely not by any strict code of conduct, which is the problematic thing about prosecuting it. Also, Trump's DOJ, most likely, unless this gets way bigger, is not going to prosecute this person. He's going to be put into hiding. He's going to be shuffled around. They're going to try to forget about this happening, which is very unfortunate, obviously, when somebody is dead. But that's the tricky thing about prosecuting. Is it murder? Pretty clearly, to me. Will it be prosecuted? Almost certainly not, unless enough pressure mounts on Trump. But
I don't even think the pressure matters.
I think he's shown that he's not letting any kind of thing like that get to him,
absolutely.
as far as. But yeah, the big takeaway, though, if anyone's listening that wants to do something, because I know it's a doomer thing to be like, oh, the DOJ is not going to prosecute him, you can't do anything. The bill that the Republicans are trying to get signed for funding for the Department of Homeland Security does not have any of the 3 things that would actually help this. So the things you can do is call your state representative, call Chuck Schumer, the spineless piece of shit, and tell him that that he's gone if he doesn't, like, if he signs this bill, then it's over for him. He should never hold office again, because this is a clearly something where the 3 things that should be put in the bill, if you're Democrats, say, I'm not signing unless masks are gone, absolutely. No federal officer, no law enforcement should ever be wearing masks. It's the public's right to know who they are, to be able to get their badge number, to know what they're doing. This is why we got body cams. This is just part about being the police. There's a responsibility. Get rid of the masks. 2, you definitely need to describe qualified immunity for them. And then 3, publish whatever the guidelines are. Publish and agree on. ICE can do this. ICE needs a warrant to do this. ICE, if they're in this situation, has to do this. ICE is acting under these principles. Publish that, like, have it somewhere where we can look at it and evaluate it so that we know. So if you want to call your legislator, call Chuck Schumer's office, like, this bill, the Republicans are counting on this quietly going through and ICE getting a lot more funding and becoming a lot bigger to be able to keep doing this. And this is what they want, is them to be able to keep having this power. There's videos now in Minneapolis of kids that are going around following ICE agents in like vans, just filming them and watching them, which is completely legal, by the way. You're absolutely within your rights to follow government agents, police officers. You're not obstructing justice if you're doing that. Following them and recording them. And there was one that came out this week of kids go up to an ICE agent. The ICE agent's like, you guys got to get out of here. Like, the kids are like, no, I feel like we don't. And the ICE agent says to him, listen, get out of here, guys. You saw what happened. So it's clear that like this, they're the only way they can operate like this. It's a gang. It's a gang. Like they operate on fear and you getting out of the way and turning around while your neighbor, the people that work in your community, get disappeared by the government, even if they're not illegal citizens. So,
and just maybe the fear factor made me think of, you saw the podium, I'm sure, the "one of us, all of you" slogan, the literal Nazi slogan that we brought back in the year of 2026. We're using Nazi slogan. Become ICE, they are paying, first off, they're paying a filthy amount of money. Like, they are making triple digits, including their signing bonus, a year, right? That's like twice as much as I'm making. So it's like easy to be like, oh man, yeah, I'm just gonna sell my soul and join ICE because they're paying a lot of money. They changed because ICE existed before Trump. They just didn't do any of the stupid shit they're doing now. But they changed the training from 4 to 6 months program, depending on how fast you accelerated through it, to 47 days. Because Trump is the 47th president. That is why Trump changed it to 47 days. Because it's cute. I've been president for 47 days. I'm the 47th president. 47 days of training, which is why, again, it's just clear ICE doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They just have random people in masks. You pass through a little bit of training. Here's a weapon. And maybe you have immunity. And so far, they do have immunity. Not one ICE agent that I've seen has been put in jail for anything. Even the guy, I think one guy is getting prosecuted now, who just admitted to raping multiple people for months in like the ICE detention center, which people can't get in. Senators are not allowed in there. And the people in there, I was watching a video, you can't even call, like, oh, my neighbor was taken away, I'm going to call and get them. If you call the detention center, they'll ask you for that person's, like, whatever number that ICE gives to them. And then and I see the videos, they're like, I don't know, can you tell me what it is? And they're like, no. Well, can you put the person on the phone to tell me their number? And they're like, no, that person can't call out either. So it's just this, like, absolute stupid system that clearly was destined to fail. And we tried it, and it didn't work. So just own your loss and just disband it now. This is why, like, Trump would have an opportunity to win back so many of like the Republican people who are shifting left or shifting to the center. Really, just anything to get away from his reign. He could get a lot of them back if he actually was like, I'm prosecuting this idiot who I give immunity. You could take it away, and that would be such like a powerful. And again, not that should like make up for everything else that he's doing. We should be like, oh, we should give this guy a break. He did one decent thing this year. But I'm just surprised he's so stupid not to do that. Because it seems like such a cut and dry, where again, you have to be such an idiot to look at that video and think any other way. Again, like manslaughter or murder, not everybody knows the difference. But for you to look at it and be like, it was self-defense, or justified, or like any kind of the blame is on the poor woman who got shot. Like, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
I think it's wishful thinking to be like, yeah, if he just did this one, reasonable human thing.
Yeah.
I'd like not to be a doomer about it, but like I feel like he is too far gone. He's too set in his ways to change anything. And again, like you said, if he did this one thing that, you know, respects human rights a little bit, but like that doesn't change the fact that like he's a piece of garbage.
Which might be, not to say it's a good thing that he didn't do that, but at least because there are a lot of people who are shallow enough who would literally be like, this is the most recent thing. Look, Trump did something good. Maybe he's not that bad.
Yeah, he lost me for a little bit, but this one thing.
But there are a lot of people who are just that
50.
dumb who might actually be like that. So in a way, maybe it's a good thing. He's just owning being an absolute evil person. So maybe people can make the right decision in 2028.
It would crumble ICE though, because it's true. Like, who's signing up for ICE, even with that money, if you know that you can get prosecuted for what you do? The only reason they're doing the job is because it's like, if you ever do anything bad, we'll pay you way too much money, and we'll slide you around. Listen, wear the mask. They don't know who you are. If you get in trouble, we'll shuffle you around to the next district. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, and now this is not, you kind of compared it to, like, the police and everything. And, like, I think with the police, like, with and I'm not trying to compare these two horrible tragedies that happened necessarily, but with, like, the George Floyd thing, it's like, you turn on any news channel, you see the picture and name of the police officer being, you know, and so like there is a level of accountability. Now, is it enough accountability? No, but there is. Still,
but he is in prison, right? So I know a lot of people were like death penalty, which didn't really make sense.
There's more accountability than being a literal like faceless entity that is completely unchecked by any level of like. I don't know how much congressional oversight sees that.
Yeah,
but, like you. It seems like they're going mostly, if not completely.
And you would just think the "Don't Tread on Me" crowd would care. Like the more I experience life, I think I am in the "Don't Tread on Me" crowd. Like what they should be.
The snake is awesome,
dude. The snake looks awesome, and just having like government agents being allowed to do any of that just seems like all the people who again fly those flags more often than not. I feel like in that pro-ICE group, and it's just baffling. It really feels like you're just brain dead at that point, and it is just whatever Trump says. He can't be wrong, even when he contradicts something he said last year. He just has to be right. So it's almost like he's the Pope for these guys. He's like their Pope. He just can't be wrong about anything. He said it. Well, maybe it was wrong then, but now it's good. It almost feels like they should be praying to him if they're not already.
Yeah, I mean, remember when it was like a horrible problem that you had to show your vaccine card to get into the movie theater? Like, what happened, guys? Like, we're okay with this though? Like, the vaccine card, way too much. But make sure you carry your entire documentation with you wherever you go, to the supermarket. Make sure you've got all of your immigration papers, everything that's there. Just exact proof of who you are everywhere you go. And if you get nabbed and thrown in prison for a couple of years, we'll let you out eventually.
With that, I know we have more questions. I'm worried about these damn cameras dying right now. You know the percentage they're at. We'll have to pick up next time. Yeah. Hey Chuck, what? Oh, yeah, he's sleeping on that bill he's gonna sign. Okay. But this was great. Thank you guys. We'll be back. Maybe next week, maybe a week after that. You'll probably see these guys more often than not. But again, plan would be to open the floor for some questions online and bring new guests in here. I would love to have somebody from the MAGA crowd here. Explain your thinking a little bit. But you had it, folks. That was episode 1. Thank you guys for coming.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you guys. Thank you all.